I'm questioning this myself, and I'm like, I don't really get it. This doesn't quite make any sense to me. I'm of the strong opinion that we are currently living in an era that idolizes psychopathy. Let me explain that. Because I came across this string of synchronicity, and I learned about this very specific ratio called the sound to noise ratio. What it is like this formula that makes up the majority of successful people in business, or like in working on a project of some kind. So it's like, people like Steve Jobs had a sound to noise ratio. His sound to noise ratio was about 80%, which essentially meant that any single given day, he would always have three things that he would be working on, which would be leading him to some kind of goal that he was working on. So it was never always focusing on the large picture, but like the three things that you can achieve in that day. And then anything that stops you or slows you down from achieving those three things in that day is essentially the noise. So we also have our own noise in that day. And the point that I'm making here is, at an 80% level, he was cutting people off of their conversations. If he wasn't finding any kind of inherent value, he was walking away and just showing a real lacking of empathy. And then if we look at someone who has an even higher sound to noise ratio, like Elon Musk, he has a sound to noise ratio of about 100%, which essentially means if you're talking with him and he is not gaining any inherent value, he is walking away, because that to him is the noise. I think my problem with all of this stems from the fact that I feel like we're leaning on an imbalance of, we are valuing more of those qualities that are lacking the kind of empathy that I feel like should be expected for humanity. But then we have people who are running the earth who are lacking in showing the most basic human emotion, and yet they are the ones making all the decisions. Something is not making sense here. My personal opinion is that I believe we should be of service to mankind however we can to help other people. And I feel like the more that we lean on this lacking of empathy, the more reason we'll have to exist selfishly and not for the existence of others. So I have to begin to question, why are we idolizing people who are showing a lack of empathy, and then not idolizing the people who do?